also a study proposal on audio surrogation for retrieving and making sense of digital videos. So this is the outline for my today's presentation. So we'll first go over the literature review very briefly, and then maybe we will focus more on the study proposal, followed by the question and answer section. So a little background on audio surrogation. First, what are surrogates? Surrogates are condensed information that people use to represent the source documents. For example, we can have abstract for an article, and we can have a short movie clip that represents a whole video. And the bulk of today's surrogates are text-based, although we are beginning to have some visual surrogates in some retrieving systems such as storyboard, fast forwards, excerpts, and intermediate schemes, and so on. However, very little work has been done in the area of audio surrogates. According to Pavio's decoding theory, people can simultaneously process information in their audio and verbal subsystems of human cognition. And audio actually employs humans' natural ability of hearing and making sense of information. And the auditory information, when they are designed well to complement the visual environment, can have additive effects on human recall. Also, audio surrogates have the potential to work alone as well as work together with visual surrogates. And audio surrogates can also be the alternatives that will work on small form factor devices such as cell phones and PDAs. So as I said, there are actually very little work done in this field, but some people look at the automatic audio summarization. So there are actually two basic approaches of audio summarization. The first one is just based on the text transcript of the audio. So actually they can do all kinds of things such as the TF, IDF, and inspirations to find the most informative and representative sentences from the audio, but those are text-based. Another approach is to do some analysis on the audio features of the audio tracks, such as they do analysis on speech emphasis, pitch, and excitement level, etc. For example, some people use hidden Markov models to identify the emphasis in conversational speech. The speech can be just one speaker or multiple speakers. And Jonathan and his colleagues actually use some similarity analysis to extract the informative audio excerpt and use audio excerpt together with the video surrogates. This is actually what I talked about for my current work a week ago. And there are other kinds of audio surrogates. Last year, the Human-Computer Interaction Seminar class did a technical report. And they suggested several kinds of surrogates that use audio. The first one is the video surrogates for audio. For example, you can have a little bar chart or pie chart that tells you the proportion of each sound features in the audio track. I'm sorry I didn't show a picture of those here, but those are very informative. But I think that kind of surrogates is more for retrieval instead of for people to make sense of the video, because it only tells you the conversation of the audio features. Another type of audio surrogates the class suggested is the spoken metadata. For example, we can have voice narration of the description of the audio or the video, or maybe the narration of keywords of the audio and the video. And in the paper, they call them the speech display of the metadata. In the paper Gary and I worked on, we found that the audio actually is a very good accompaniment to the video surrogates, which allows people to process the audio and video surrogates concurrently. And also in the book written by Clifford and Scott, they suggested that people can actually differentiate synthetic voices. Whereas you already know that people are more convinced if they hear opinions from different human beings. It was not known if they will treat the synthetic voices the same way. So actually, during their study, they showed that even when people listen to the synthetic voices and they treat them as different human characters, and when they listen to the opinions from multiple synthetic voices, they are more convinced of the opinions. And another surrogate proposed in the technical report is the audio snippets. Those are short extracts from the audio or the video, which are substantially shorter in time than the original content. One way to do it, to create the audio snippets, is to subsampling the audio snippets at certain intervals across the entire audio. For example, we can take every first 5 seconds out of every 120 seconds from the video, and so on. In the technical reports, they also proposed compressed audio and parallel audio streams. But those two kinds of surrogates, actually, for those we have to consider human cognitive load, because we really cannot compress the audio a lot. Maybe 2 times it's okay, but 3 times it's just disaster. People won't be able to figure out what you're saying. And the parallel audio streams, the same thing. Again, we cannot achieve very high compaction rates for this kind of audio surrogates. So a short summary so far for the literature review. The audio surrogates, when either used alone or used together with some video surrogates, have the potential to be useful in retrieving and making sense of the digital videos. But since there are very little work done in this field, and very little work looked at the pros and cons of different forms of audio surrogates, this is actually an area that needs more attention and a few more inputs. So let's move on to the proposal. So since I'm interested in audio surrogation, I actually proposed a study that will evaluate audio alone surrogates and surrogates with both audio and video channels in relation to their usefulness and usability in accomplishing certain sense-making tasks for videos. So in this study, I think we're going to recruit 24 or 48 participants, depending on the time and the cost. And those participants will be healthy 18 years old and older native English speakers. We do this, we require them to be native English speaker because they will listen to the voices both from the audio themselves and from the synthetic speech synthesizers. And it's really hard sometimes to follow the voice in the speech synthesizer. So we think maybe it will make it easier if we just recruit the native English speakers. And we're going to compare 4 different kinds of surrogate conditions, which I will discuss more later. And it's going to be a within subject design study. And the conditions will be evaluated based on people's performance, their accuracy, time, confidence, and other effective measures in doing their sense-making tasks in the study. So the test videos for the study I proposed will be a set of 20 comparable videos. Half of them will be from the educational video collection we have, and the other half will be videos from the ephemeral videos. The reason for this is that in the past we have done studies that only look at the educational videos, and we don't know if the same technique will work for other genre of videos. So for this study, I think we should also look at other kinds of videos. And the surrogates, the 4 surrogates we are going to look at, there are 2 audio-only surrogates. The first one, if we already have the transcript for the audio, that's great. If we don't, we will use the automatic speech recognition system to create the transcript for the audio or video or the videos. And once we have the transcript for the videos, we will use the magic system to create maybe 5-sentence text descriptions for the video. And from those text descriptions, we can create a short audio clip that corresponds to the text descriptions we get from Magic. So this is the first surrogate condition we're going to look at. And the second one, the same thing, we create the transcript and the descriptions, but we just use the speech synthesizer to create the narration of the text descriptions. And there are 2 audio and video surrogates conditions. The first combined condition is we have the transcript, we get the text descriptions, and we get the video clips from the video that correspond to the text. And the other one has nothing to do with the magic system. It just uses the subsampling technique I mentioned earlier to extract maybe some samples of the video. And so those are the 2 combined conditions. So here are some examples. So the first one is actually the actual audio from the video we extracted using Magic.
Hello everybody, welcome to Rockefeller Center here in the heart of Midtown Manhattan. Our Today Show studio, the window on the world. I'm Al Roker, and each morning I try to tell people what to expect for the rest of their day.
The Hurricane Hunters are a group of men and women in the United States Air Force Reserve who fly these airplanes into hurricanes to measure the storms. The data we collect, well, Jennifer, we have weather sensors mounted around the nose of our WC-130 aircraft and 2 other stations inside. Let me show you.
Great. You'd never ask. With that.
So this is the end of the first interpretation. And I apologize because I didn't have enough time to create these slides, so that for the second condition, I couldn't combine those 3 clips, so I will play them one by one.
Hello everybody, welcome to Rockefeller Center. You are in the heart of Midtown Manhattan, our Today's Show studio, the window on the world. Each morning I try to tell people what to expect for the rest of their day. The Hurricane Hunters are a group of men and women in the United States Air Force Reserve who fly these airplanes into hurricanes to measure the storms. Well, Jennifer, we have weather sensors mounted around the nose of our WC-130 aircraft and 2 other stations inside. Let me show you.
Actually, she was saying, let me show you.
I thought you would never ask.
So those are the first 2 audio-only conditions we are going to evaluate. And again, those 2 are the clips for the first combined condition.
Hello everybody, welcome to Rockefeller Center here in the heart of Midtown Manhattan. Our Today Show studio, the window on the world. I'm Al Roker, and each morning I try to tell people what to expect for the rest of their day.
The Hurricane Hunters are a group of men and women in the United States Air Force Reserve who fly these airplanes into hurricanes to measure the storms. The data we collect, Well, Jennifer, we have weather sensors mounted around the nose of our WC-130 aircraft and 2 weather stations inside. Let me show you.
Great. You'd never ask. With that. Hi, welcome to NASA Connect, the show that connects you to the world of destroyed power lines. Hurricane Andrew was the third.
What do you do with it?
I analyze it. Along with the data we receive, I look at previous...
On the activity button, that will take you to the Earth Pole Center. Go to the control room and select feature. Using remote sensing images from the NOAA weather satellites.
Aircraft and 2 weather stations inside. Let me show you.
Great.
Get to the outer edges of the hurricane. But if you notice, the wind is at its strong
side. In it, you'll find materials, directions, and student worksheets. Scale to draw an arc from the outer edge of the disk. The area between the disk and the
NASA's bird's eye view of our planet has revolutionized observations of the
a complete picture of our Earth's atmosphere. Currently, upper air observations like this, like the wall, his face, and his glasses.
Oh, actually, I won't finish playing the last one because this one is actually takes longer time than the previous one because of the subsampling techniques I use. And from those 4 examples, maybe you will know what kind of preference you have for those different surrogates. And I should mention that all of those 4 conditions can be created automatically. So the procedure of the study, we first develop an online protocol system for the study, which will administer the study and collect the data and also manage the balancing of the order of the surrogation the participants will see. And we will run a group of 6 to 10 people at the same time based on the availability of the participants. And there will be 5 trials for each surrogate condition. And first the surrogate will be played and some sense-making tasks will be asked for each trial. To reduce the first trial effect, the first trial in each condition will be treated as a training trial and will not include that in the data analysis. And people will also be asked to fill out some questionnaires during and after the study. So the research question we have for this proposed study is that does the dual coding theory hypothesis that audio information combined with video will have additive effects on human recall still hold for this kind of highly abbreviated surrogates we have? And does real human voice convince people more than the synthetic voice, as we listened to in the first audio condition and the second audio condition? And the hypotheses I have for the study, first A1 is the real audio clip from the video will be better than the synthetic voice narration of the text transcript. And the first combined condition is going to be better than the second one. So the video excerpts created from the text transcripts will be better than the random. It's not really random. It will be better than the automatic subsampling of the video. And also the audio will be better. The both condition will be better than the audio alone condition. And the question I don't know yet is whether the subsampling of video will be better than the audio alone from the first audio condition. So the conclusion, audio surrogates can be helpful in retrieving and making sense of videos, and different audio surrogates can have different pros and cons. And when we do some real life design, we have to take some trade-offs and consider some design issues very carefully. And there are a lot of more questions to be answered in this field. And the audio surrogates suggested in this proposed study are actually very cheap to create. And if the study results show that they are actually effective in helping people to make sense of the video, that will be a great way we will go. So, thank you.
You know that on the side where you had the hypotheses, other effective measures? What other effective measures are you using?
Like, this kind of surrogates interesting to you, or are they very engaging when you use them trying to figure out the meaning of the videos? Those kind of effective measures.
So I have a question on the V2. That it's a lot longer.
Yeah, actually, right. I just created this today, and actually I could do it to the first 5 seconds out of every 240, but something wrong happened to the script, so it won't work. So that's what I have.
So you will try to equalize it?
Yeah, I will. Yeah. Sure.
Well, so I was wondering how much of this depends on the way the brain functions, or the way certain people's brain function, and the environment or the application, because these studies are done in the lab setting, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you're driving on the road and you may prefer certain kind of surrogate, if you're on on mobile device or something. So I'm trying to understand how much and some people are more visually active than they have more of visual perception than I don't know, some other kind of. So how is there any kind of idea how much this depends on the environment? And
so maybe a first question is how people can use this when they are driving, right?
Yeah, I mean.
So I think we would not recommend people to look at videos when they drive. And maybe it's okay if they listen to the audio description.
Well, there are still those GPS devices with
Right, but they don't have to look at the GPS devices all the time. But if they really want to do some video browsing when they drive, I mean, they are on their own risk. But the only thing we can... so actually I take much less space. So we will also recommend the audio on small form factor devices. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
I have another question, which is you're going to do performance of time and accuracy, but what tasks are you going to have to do?
Those will be a series of sense-making tasks. Like after they watch or listen to the surrogates, they will be asked to write a short description of the video that the surrogates actually come from. So they will, based on the surrogates, the short abbreviation of the video, they will try to make sense of the entire videos. And also maybe we will ask them to select some keyframes from a set of keyframes which may include some distractors to see if they can really do this kind of regulation tasks. Sure.
So right now it's the surrogation, the audio surrogate is for the video, right?
Yeah.
How about using it for? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I missed the point. Using it for the text.
For the text.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of work done for the text summarization. So as I said, one of the audio summarization approach is to just look at the text.
I think he's talking about the other way around. Use an audio surrogate for a textual document.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't think about that, but
because, for instance, there were these applications of accessing your email remotely using a cell phone or something. So you basically talk to your mailbox instead of reading the email because you don't have screen or keyboard, those things. But
in this Jonathan's paper, and it's the Clifford's book. Actually, this is a kind of audio surrogates for text. So those are some customer reviews from Amazon.com on some book. Those are book reviews, and they use synthetic voices to read those reviews. And this is also kind of audio surrogates for the text. Any other questions?
Okay. Thank you.